All right, so you're hip on tech culture, right? You've heard of programmable flashlights, right? Oh, you haven't? You say you understand what a programmable flashlight is about as well as Marsha Blackburn understands what net neutrality means. Okay, come on. Don't be so hard on yourself. It's not like you're in the pocket of a big telecom company, right? Anyway, put away your keyboard and mouse. A programmable flashlight, like the Rayus U10, is operated by a single button and not some fancy PC hardware. A programmable flashlight is basically a flashlight that allows you to program how it functions with a few button clicks, and then remembers it when you need it later. It's like only having to ask someone for a beer one time and then being brought one whenever you need it next. Kinda like they read your mind. Unfortunately, this light can't read your mind or get you a beer. Yet. Okay, so just like a non-fancy boy flashlight, this one comes with your basic flashlight swag. You get a chill box, the light, a detailed manual, a lanyard, surprise, a spare O-ring, a sweet micro USB charger just like your phone uses, and a bunch of little plastic baggies. And while it has the same charge port as your phone, I don't think you can check your Facebook or MySpace if you're not up with the times. But you can charge it with your computer, which is cool if you like charging things with a computer. Anyway, so since this is a flashlight, what about the flashlight features of the flashlight? Like how many modes and what kind of stuff does it have? You get 5 brightness modes and 2 strobe modes. Here are the 5 modes of brightness with the camera set to manual so you can see how far apart in brightness all the modes are relative to one another. The following lumen ratings and runtimes are manufacturer specs. Moonlight runs at 0.5 lumens for 3 months, in case you want to run a flashlight for 3 straight months. Low is 7 lumens for 260 hours. Mid is 132 lumens for 14 hours. High is 410 lumens for 3 hours and 50 minutes. Turbo is 996 lumens for 1 hour and 40 minutes. And finally, here are your strobe modes and SOS modes, in case you get lost at sea or are doing tactical things. Anyway, the cool thing about this flashlight is it has quite a few different customization parameters. I will touch on how to access them here and go over just a few of the basics, but won't get into everything unless I see some sort of market research that suggests the public wants 30-minute flashlight reviews on YouTube, which it may be going there. I don't know yet. So first, let's discuss the switch and the charging port. The switch has an LED color indicator that gives you a rough idea of how much charge your flashlight holds. Green means it's greater than 70% battery remaining, yellow means between 30 and 70, and red means less than 30% remains. The charging port has a rotating cover that you turn when you're not using it. So how about that programming? So there's 4 basic operating groups. Each have a slightly different way to access the modes. To get to them, do this just as I say. When the light is off, press the button 6 times fast. Wait for the blink, then another quick 5 times. Then quickly decide if you want group 1 through 4 by pressing rapidly the appropriate amount that corresponds to the group. I chose 2, so I did 6, blink, 5, blink, and then I have 2 blink. And then after you hit the number, hold it a half a second, and this mode grouping is remembered. The manual is very detailed on what each mode grouping does differently and how to do this because you're going to forget. These groups all have several slight differences on how they access modes. Group 2 has a momentary on feature that I like, so I'll describe it briefly. So it has a momentary on for any length of press under 2 seconds. If you decide to hold the button longer than 2 seconds, the light just stays on the mode you're on. This could be useful for Morse code enthusiasts or scaring away the monsters under your bed who happen to be afraid of tactical flashlights. The mode layout is turbo, moonlight, low, mid, and high. You can access the strobes by holding the button a set length of time while it's on. To turn it off, press it for a half second. Alright, so there's 3 other mode groups that all are different in the way they turn on or access the strobes. It's all a matter of preference, and as far as I know, people won't judge you or beat you up based upon which one you decide to pick. Okay, so in addition to the mode groups, there's another menu that affects other parameters. Like if you want the light to remember what mode it was on when you had it on last. I have enabled that because, well, I don't have a good reason. Then there's also the fact that you need to enable moonlight mode if you want it, because out of the box the light does not have it activated. Once you enable it though, it's inserted into the regular mode lineup of levels until you disable it again. There's also a feature that allows you to disable the memory and allow you to start on whatever level you want the light to be on when it comes on. I don't see much use for this feature, but since it's just my opinion and watching a YouTube video doesn't force people to do anything except maybe kill, then you don't have to enable it. Personally, I'd like the ability to omit modes other than the moonlight mode, but since I don't make flashlights, I just make the reviews, I don't get to decide. Anyway, you access this menu in a similar way that you enable the mode groupings, but with a slightly different amount of button pressing that the manual details very well. Oh, and one more cool feature is the ability to lock out the light when not in use. Just press it 5 times real quick when off, and to re-enable it, press it 3 times rapidly, then the flashlight can be on and off operated like regular. Cool. No more activations in your man purse, pocket, or a body cavity. So for data purposes, and because I have nothing better to do, I decided to test the runtimes of turbo, high, and mid. The camera is set to manual, so you can see how the brightness behaves in reality on each mode. Turbo runs for well over 2.5 hours. The brightness gradually tapers off until major step downs at 1 hour and 48 minutes and 1 hour and 57 minutes. Then it continues on in a low mode for another hour or more. I cut the test short because it just kept going and going. High mode runs at a fairly constant brightness for 2 hours and 50 minutes, then tapers off, before a significant brightness drop at 3 hours and 25 minutes, and then 3 hours and 36 minutes, before continuing on in a low mode for quite a bit longer. Mid runs for about 10 hours and 45 minutes before stepping down to a lower level, although the light lasts for more than 24 hours at a much lower near moonlight operating mode. Alright, so let's wrap this up if you're still here. I'm sure some people would like to know how well the charger works and if I still have a house. So after doing the turbo runtime test, I charged it from 3.05 volts. It took about 6 hours and 20 minutes. I found that it charges the battery between 4.16 and 4.18 volts. So what if you left the light to charge overnight? Well, I did that, and I checked the battery voltage about 12 hours later, and it was sitting at 4.16 volts. That said, I strongly recommend you use protected batteries with any flashlight, especially ones with built-in chargers. For my tests, I use a Rayus 3400 mAh protected battery, which is not included with the flashlight. The U10 can fit either protected or unprotected 18650 cells. I use Panasonics and Sanyos and I never had a problem. Anyway, any parting thoughts? Well, it's waterproof to IPX8 standards. It survived mild dunks in water and some snow. I did this test with the charger cover in place because it would be stupid not to. I was not able to detect PWM on any mode, so that's cool because it means the light output is nice and flicker free and I didn't have to adjust my camera's shutter angle to compensate. The light is available in a neutral white tint, but my test model was the cool white version. Oh, I almost forgot the comparative beam shots. I swear I tried to keep this video under 10 minutes. Here are a few outdoor shots with other similar lights of similar size and one lumen monster thrown into the mix. And by the way, the Rayus U10 uses a Cree XML2 U2 emitter. Here's a beam profile pattern shot on a white wall where I manually close the aperture. Cool. Finally, this sample was provided for review in partnership between Rayus and by Brent at Tech Tool Supply, which has a website. It's based out of Michigan, and they did the cool engraving job on there. If you'd like engraving, feel free to check at Tech Tool Supply website for more info. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel for many more videos like this one. Alright, thanks for watching.